G'day, how you all going? So it's been almost 18 months and 44,000 kilometres since I picked up the FJ. So I thought now is as good a time as any to share what I think about the FJ and touch on a few things that I've done to it. So those of you that have been following me along for a while will know that I bought this FJ stock as a rock, apart from a trans cooler and a red arc brake controller. And just a few specifics on it, it is a 2012 FJ and I picked it up with 136,000 kilometres on it. And right now it's sitting just under 180,000 kilometres in the time that I've owned it. 10,000 of those kilometres have been done in the last 8 or 9 weeks with some big trips, one up into Queensland, a couple of high country trips, and one down to the Otways in Victoria. So what drew me to the FJ originally was its looks, and I wanted something a little bit different after my previous four-wheel drive, and I reckon this was a bit of a surprise for those that have followed me for a while, and you know, jumping from a big live axle four-wheel drive into this with its coil rear end and independent front has definitely been a bit of a change. But so far this thing is impressing me more and more every time I take it off-road. So I've done some pretty good tracks. I've knocked out some pretty big kilometres on highway trips, driving from down to Victoria up into Queensland and back over a couple of weeks, taking on a few good sites along the way. But where it really comes into its own is off-road. This thing, I don't know, it is really impressive. You read a lot about them and how capable they are off-road. Of course, they're not like your big lifted forward drives, but everything that we do and get away camping and doing the tracks that we do, this thing ticks all the boxes that I needed to do. So with the rear factory locker and the A-track system at the front, so last weekend was the first time I actually needed to use the A-track. Was some big wombat holes undulating. I'll drop some footage over the top here down in the Otways. If you actually watch the footage closely, you can see the front left wheel is actually doing its thing. Gets me through no worries. So little stats on that. I'm just running 265 tyres with a 2-inch Ironman lift. So they're Falcon mud terrains. And it was perfect. Of course, you're always going to hit underneath a few spots here and there. Didn't find to have any dramas. Gets me through. I don't go through bashing through hard. I just drive it nice and slow, and if I need to, I'll pick another line. So just to quickly run through what I've done to the FJ, first thing I did was the roof rack. So I got my awning on there, and then it was closely followed by my 12-volt system. So I got a lithium battery, red arc controller in there, GME UHF radio, and the lithium's a 75 amp hour. That was all installed by ProWire Auto Alex. So he's done an absolutely awesome job. So Shane asked me what I wanted, fit it all, and it has worked absolutely flawless. Can't complain with that there. Suspension, Ironman foam cells, tyres, Falcon mud terrains in a 265 70/17, so I've kept them close, or like the original tyre size, which works really well with, particularly I was more thinking of the low range gearing. Now I'll get to that in a moment, but that works really well. The K-On aerial mount on the back door, and that's pretty much all I've done. I've fitted out the back as well a bit with some simple storage solutions, but I'll give you a look at that in a moment. So it's pretty much just your camping touring spec setup that, you know, can get you out there to those really cool spots. So I'll give you a look at the back there, the storage system that I've done, and then I'll touch on a few other things about the FJ. So in the back there, it's pretty simple. I've just got my fridge there. Currently the fridge isn't on, that's why the lid's off, and a little storage compartment there for the table, and I've just got some marine carpet on it. I haven't washed it, I haven't cleaned this car or anything for this video. It's just how it is after last weekend's trip away. So that's pretty much all I'll touch on the things I've done to the car. Like I said, I'm not going to walk you through everything. I've done that in previous videos, and if you want to know more about what I've done to the FJ, comment down below. I'm happy to answer any questions there. I'll drop some footage probably towards the end of the video and show you some of the modifications I've done, but everything I've done to it has worked absolutely perfectly. I've also added, which I forgot before, is the Runville winch to the front, so that came off my old full drive, so haven't needed it yet, but it's all wide up there on the front for if and when I do need it. So the FJ Cruiser, I'll get into all that sort of my thoughts on it now. It's not for everyone, so it does have some really cool features. I'll pop a link over here to a video I've done on some cool features with the FJ. One thing I do like is the white roof and the blue body. There's a few cars out there that do have that, but a lot of people tell me, you know, it looks a bit like an old Esky. So those of you that are watching from overseas, we have like a cooler chest here in Australia, and it's predominantly blue with a white roof, hence the name Esky. So I really like those features there. Something else that I really like about the FJ is the smooth auto and the V6 combination. It works absolutely perfectly. I've had no dramas with it at all. Now, something else that I really like about the FJ is when I did the long haul trip up to Queensland, so from my place up to there, where I went to was close to 2,000 kilometres. Now, when I did that trip heading through the middle of New South Wales, it was 42 degrees. So again, for those of you watching from overseas, it was 42 degrees Celsius, so it was quite a hot day. Just easily cruised along, air conditioner was on low. Didn't have to worry about anything. The FJ just did it nice and easy, so that was really good to have that good reliability, and knew I was going to be able to get from point A to point B. So not even just the Queensland trip, I've also had it across into South Australia. So I went over there, was only about a month or about 3 months after I owned it. So I did a trip over there, just a solo trip over there. And that trip was 1,800 kilometres in 5 or 6 days. That was when I first sort of got a bit of a feel for the FJ and wanted to, you know, see how it went on those longer trips. But like I said at the start of this video, each trip, it just gets more and more comfy. I get, you know, enjoying it more. And now the seating position in the FJ, you can lift the seat up and down, and it has a drop down armrest. One thing I think would really add to the seats in this would be perhaps a lower lumbar support. But another thing that's really good from standard that I like as well is the sound system. A lot of people change it, pull it out. I find it's good. The Bluetooth connects when I want it to connect, and it's got plenty of speakers in it. Quite often if I do a trip, I even just have the radio off. So the standard sound system that I have in the FJ works really well. Some people pull it out and change it for your Apple CarPlays and Androids. Also, I forgot to add the snorkel. That's something else I did add. Now, there's only one thing that's played up on this car since I've had it, and it's the door switch. So the door switch, what it does, when you've got your headlights on, if you get home from wherever you are or whatever you're doing, if you pull up, turn your vehicle off, pull the keys out, open the door. When you open the door, the headlights automatically turn off, and when you hop back in, put the key in, go to start it, the lights turn on. Now, my door switch is actually a bit temperamental. From what I can work out, it's only around $19 to replace. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So that's only really been doing it in the last probably 3 weeks or so. So that's just something I'm going to have to chase up and replace that. And I might even just pull it out. Maybe just the contact's a little bit dodgy in there, or a bit of condensation possibly. Now we're heading into winter time. And something else I've got to replace is the inner splash guards on the inside of the wheel well here. So these ones are just perished over the time. Majority of the clips are still in it, but I'll get new ones as well, of course. They come in a kit. So I've just got to get those little splash guards just to keep any mud and etc. out of the engine bay, or minimise the chance of mud and water. So I mentioned the FJ capabilities off-road. So one thing, low second's quite fast. Low first is probably where second should maybe be, I guess. I'm not sure what the gear ratios are off the top of my head, but yeah, low first is good. Low second could be a little bit lower. That's probably the only thing I'd probably look at changing off-road. But yeah, it's smooth. The core rear end and the suspension setup I have on it, I'm pretty happy with where that's sitting right now. It's good, plenty of flex and stuff in there as well. Which I guess a question some of you might be wondering is, when I was putting the FJ together, is what would have I done differently? Now it's almost 18 months down the track with how it's all together. And the short answer is absolutely nothing. Everything on it was thought of well before purchasing and putting it on. It's a very similar setup to my previous four-wheel drive. So previous four-wheel drive had a steel rack. This one I went to alloy. Still had the steel bull bar and good quality driving lights and the GME UHF, etc. So nothing. I would have just actually done it the same if I was building another one. There's nothing I would really change. I would just put it all together exactly like this. So in the FJ as well, for touring, generally it's just two of us, or me by myself, or myself and my dog. There's not a lot of room in them, so you do have to be quite smart with how you stack, or how you pack, I should say, the FJ. Now, I'm not running a cargo barrier or anything like that in this car. I did in my previous four-wheel drive when I had the kids in the back and everything like that. The cargo barrier worked an absolute treat, but you do have to be a bit smarter. I've gone back, instead of using like big plastic tubs or anything like that in it, I just got soft, clear top bags. So I've got some crash pad bags. They're called crash pods. So I use that, and I've got a big bag that I use, which is also a soft bag and lightweight. So I have all my cooking gear in that, and the crash pods I use for putting my food, etc. in the rear of the car. And then if I have the double swag, that goes on the roof. And if I have the single swag, that fits in the back seat quite easily. And I use a stretcher, and that also sits in there. And the jerry can sits nice and low in the back of the car also. So you do have to be a bit smarter with how you stack, and I try and minimise ever having things on the roof. So in a few of my videos, you'd see me go away with nothing on the roof, and that's what my theory is. Why put something on the roof if you don't need it on the roof and it fits perfectly in the car? And whether it's a 2-week trip or an overnight trip, other than food and a bit of clothing, I generally take the same amount of gear anyway. So even if it was a big long trip, whereas, you know, off-grid, even in the high country for 4 or 5 days, it'd be generally the same amount of stuff as that I use on an overnighter. So it works quite well. All right, so I'll sum this video up here with probably one of the biggest questions I often think to myself, and some of you guys might be wondering as well, is if I had to buy another four-wheel drive after this, if something ever happened to this, would I buy another FJ? And the honest answer is I don't know whether I would buy another FJ or not. I'm absolutely enjoying this, and like I said earlier, it impresses me more and more. The more I take it off-road, the more long trips, the more kilometres I'm doing it in it, it is really impressive, and the comfort and the ride and everything's really, really good. So would I buy another one? Quite possibly I would, but as a definite answer, I really don't know. Maybe I'll go back to a dual cab. I've had one of those before, but then again, I really like the wagon. I don't know. I really don't know. That's the unanswered question, I guess. I guess 2 years ago, I didn't think I'd have an FJ, and then, you know, I've had this one for 18 months now. So I don't know. I really don't know what that answer is to it. If you've ever sold an FJ and regretted it, pop it down in the comments. Not that this one is for sale anytime soon, but if you've had an FJ and sold it, regretted it, and always looked at getting another one, or sold it and bought another one again later on, let me know. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. All right, so I will wrap this little FJ review update, my thoughts, 18 months, 44,000 kilometers in it so far. I'll wrap this video up here right now. So if you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see what else I get up to, hit subscribe, or even go back through my channel and check out some previous videos that I mentioned before about the FJ from when I've got it from brand new, or not brand new, new to me, to where it is now, and a lot of those trips in between are all here on my channel. So feel free to check those out, and if it's your first time here, thanks for checking out the video. And if you've been a long time subscriber, thanks so much as well. We really do appreciate it. It means a lot to us, and we do enjoy your comments, and I do reply to every comment on there. And those guys that comment on most of my videos, you know who you are. Thanks so much. It means a lot, and really enjoy and appreciate the support from you guys. So again, thanks very much, and I will see you all next time. And if you see us out and about, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and a wave too, or come and say good day if you see us somewhere. Alrighty, catch you all next time. Cheers.